Have you ever wondered why the Mona Lisa is the most famous painting in the world? It is not the biggest painting, it is not the most colorful, and it is not even the most detailed. Yet somehow, it became the most talked about artwork in history. So what made this small portrait so powerful? Let's take a closer look. First, there is the artist. The Mona Lisa was painted by Leonardo da Vinci, not just a painter, but a scientist, inventor, and thinker far ahead of his time. People are naturally drawn to anything connected to genius, and Leonardo was one of the greatest minds in human history. That alone gives the painting a strong foundation, but that is only the beginning. Now, look at her face. At first glance, she seems calm, but the longer you look, the more something feels different. Is she smiling, or is she not? This is where the mystery begins. Leonardo used a technique called sfumato, where shadows blend so softly that the edges almost disappear. Because of this, her expression is never fixed. It changes depending on how you look at it. Sometimes she seems warm, sometimes distant, sometimes almost alive. And that uncertainty pulls people in. There is also something quietly unusual about the painting itself. If you see it in person, you might be surprised by its size. It is actually quite small, much smaller than most people expect. And yet, people travel across the world just to stand in front of it. Why? Because its power does not come from scale. It comes from presence. The way it draws you in, the way it holds your attention without effort. Even in a crowded room filled with noise and movement, the Mona Lisa somehow creates a still moment. It feels calm, almost silent, as if time slows down for just a second. And in that moment, you are not just looking at a painting, you are experiencing something. Next, there is the feeling of connection. No matter where you stand, it feels like she is looking at you. Her eyes seem to follow you across the room. This creates a strange and personal experience, as if the painting is aware of your presence. And humans are naturally fascinated by things that seem to look back. Then there is the background. At first, it may seem like a simple landscape, but the more you look, the more unreal it feels. The roads do not quite connect. The rivers seem to flow in impossible ways. It feels like a dream rather than a real place. This adds to the mystery. It makes you feel like she does not belong to a specific world, not fully real, not fully imagined, somewhere in between. And that in-between feeling is powerful, because it leaves room for interpretation. But here is where the story becomes even more interesting. The Mona Lisa was not always this famous. For many years, it was simply one of many respected artworks. Everything changed when it was stolen from a museum in Paris. Suddenly, it was everywhere in the news. People all over the world began asking, what is the Mona Lisa? Who took it? Where did it go? For the first time, the painting became a global mystery. When it was finally recovered, its fame exploded. It was no longer just a painting. It had become a legend. Over time, the Mona Lisa appeared in books, films, and media. It became more than art. It became a symbol of mystery. A symbol of beauty, a symbol of timeless curiosity. Another reason for its lasting impact is how it has been treated over time. It is carefully protected, kept behind glass, watched, and preserved. This creates a sense of importance. When something is guarded like a treasure, people begin to feel that it must be valuable, and over time, that feeling becomes belief. Finally, there is the human factor. We are naturally drawn to stories, not just what something is, but what it represents. The Mona Lisa carries many layers of story. The genius of Leonardo, the mystery of her expression, the drama of its disappearance, and the centuries of curiosity that followed. All of these elements came together slowly, not at once, but over time. The Mona Lisa did not become famous overnight. It became famous because people kept returning to it, looking again, thinking again, wondering again. And there is one more reason. The painting leaves space for imagination. We do not know exactly who she is. We do not know exactly what she is thinking. And because of that, every person sees something different. Some see peace, some see sadness, some see secrets. The painting does not give answers. It asks questions. And that is what makes it unforgettable. So why is the Mona Lisa the most famous painting in the world? It is not just because of skill, not just because of history, but because it creates a feeling, a quiet, lingering sense that there is something more beneath the surface, something we almost understand, but never fully reach. And maybe that is the true reason. The Mona Lisa is not just a painting we look at. It is a painting that makes us think. And once it does, it never really lets go.